All right. This one's personal. I have been convicted about my lack of surrender. And before anybody says, like, oh, well, just wait on the Lord, that's half the battle. The other half of the battle is stewarding the things you can control and stop trying to hold on to things that are not in your hands. Now, that second part, you know what's in your hands. You also have to learn what is not. And a lot of times we don't do that. We subconsciously try to change things by knowing about it or positioning ourselves a certain way. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've learned this is like the absolute height of futility. Why? Because you you're not God's sovereign. Everything you have, and this is also why I want to encourage gratitude. God is sovereign. What's in your life right now, whether problem or a lot of things are neutral, but we consider them problems, not realizing they're good things. Example, our jobs. It's so tempting and so attractive to complain about the fact that we have a job. Why? You could have no job and be broke. Then you'd be like, bruh, I need a job. So, like, you're in the position you need to be in. You're exactly where you need to be. Unironically. And then everyone says they're grateful for their bodies. I'm gonna bite with this one. A lot of you watching this video, no, you're not. Some of you don't do anything. Like when it comes to physical, you don't even go for a walk. No, you're not grateful for your body. When you're grateful for things, you take care of them. When you're grateful for them, you speak life into it. You count yourself out. Why do you do that? When people do that, it makes me uncomfortable because it's like you still have a ton of potential physically if you would just put something green in your mouth and walk a little bit. I'm not asking you to run 10 miles. You ain't got to do all that. It's actually that easy to be in shape. Walk a little bit and eat some of the right stuff. Some of the right stuff. You can have a pizza and a burger every now and again. That's besides the point. I really want to emphasize this thing about control, right? Because it's actually where you resist God the most. I'm realizing you resist God the most whenever you focus on these things and forget the things that He's already put in your hands. That's a dangerous place to be. It is a place I've been many times over and over again, where I shouldn't have been, but I didn't realize it. Right? This can be a trauma thing, and this is like we learn to. Me, for example, I've learned to hate ambiguity. Like I don't. I need to know all the details. That can delay obedience for me because if I don't know all the details, I ain't gonna want to move or act. There's a lot of times this far where God has told me to move without giving me any details at all. Just like complete ambiguity. And I'm just like, all right, I hate this. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna do it. And that creates something called partial obedience, which is also a form of control, believe it or not, where you only move when God gives you enough pieces to work with. But what happens when He stopped giving you those pieces to work with? Now you have to move knowing God gave you this word and knowing He said, look, I need you to go here. And you have no idea why. But you have to trust Him enough. And to remove further ambiguity, right? Because You're not going to remove ambiguity from the situation, but you are going to remove ambiguity about His character by reading about Him. This is another thing I really want to explain too. And honestly, I'm kind of walking into it now. So I can't speak on it too much. But learning the character of God is like unlearning the character of people you've already placed in that position. For example, God gives you a community, and I'm guilty for this one. But you've learned to see community a certain way already. So that's normally how you're going to approach it first, before you realize God's giving you a human community and you guys are all still learning. The journey of learning never ends. And if you think you've arrived, that's when things really kick your butt. When you think you've arrived and you've learned it, you've got the thing. That's when it's going to kick your butt. I promise. If you think you've learned enough, you're lying to yourself. That's pride talking. Don't ever listen to that voice. I'm not saying you can't move without learning something, that was that obedience thing. But being very careful about trying to say like I got it now, I'm good. No. When has that ever worked? That has never worked for you. Nobody watching this video. That's never worked for you. Why would that work now? Why? Because you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and 80? No. AJ, no. But really, that control thing, right? Being very careful about stepping into trying to step into God's world, honestly. Like, you can't control outcomes. You can't control friendships and relationships. You can't control the end of, like, whatever it is you put out there, whatever kind of type of work you put out there. Sometimes you might not get what you think you can get back. You might get something ugly. Not even because you didn't put in the work. Not even because you didn't sow good seeds. You know, but what might come back might look bad at first. You might have just dug up something you needed to dig up, though. I didn't mean to make this a long video, but if you guys enjoy watching, leave a like, sub, whatevs.